Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Heroes Die Devlog. This past month I've shifted my focus over to making the world just a teeny bit livelier. Rather than spawning in some generic test room, I've created a little hub world with a few NPCs to interact with. The game's been pretty barren up until now, so hopefully you can all feel a little bit more invested now that there are a few people to actually save. The kingdom's been afflicted with this curse that's killing people off left and right. And so the few people that remain have taken up refuge in this underground town area. Originally it was just the player character that was suffering from this curse, but this way there's a little bit more of a motivation for the player to succeed, rather than just to save his own skin. It's also a pretty convenient reason to have a small hub area and only a few NPCs. And I could even play around with timing based events, like certain NPCs dying over the course of a run. More on that later. Basically, I'm just gonna guilt you all into playing this game. You're gonna feel so bad. Designing this little hub area would be pointless without adding a few characters to talk to, but for these NPCs to do anything useful, I needed a dialogue system. This is a whole project on its own, and I really didn't want to get too bogged down with it, but I knew I couldn't just keep putting it off. Luckily, Friendly Cosmonaut had a really great dialogue engine for GameMaker that I was able to add to the game really quickly. On top of that, I built my own dialogue tree system that tracks what certain NPCs should say at what time. You'll also notice a white outline around the NPC when the player gets close. This is done with an outline shader that I created, and I think it's a good way to make things that you can interact with pop out. So now there's a pretty robust system. Let's meet a few of the new NPCs. We have the Blacksmith here. The first time we speak, he'll give some intro text, and anytime after that, he'll ask if you want him to work on your sword. For a price, he'll work on your sword and make it stronger. It's pretty cheap too, so you can probably find enough money for an upgrade in just a few minutes. But he's not a magician. You're gonna have to wait a few minutes for him to finish his work. And your time is precious. You're dying after all, so you're not going to want to just sit around either. Your best bet is to keep forging on without your sword for a few minutes. So hopefully you have another way to defend yourself until then. Here's the innkeeper. You can rest here to recover your health, but it'll cost you money and time. She seems like a nice enough lady. A little bit too nice. We also have the doctor, who's responsible for all of the lovely antidotes that you find throughout the game. He's desperately searching for a cure to this curse. You'll find him throughout the land selling his creations and searching for the perfect cure. He'll be your chief advisor throughout the game. He's the one who sends you to all four corners of the kingdom looking for the source of the curse. That's everyone in the starting hub area for now. I'll probably add a few minor NPCs as well, just have them walk around the town and give you little tips and tricks, just to give a little bit of life to the town. I'm also thinking about adding someone else to allow you to buy new upgrades that can appear in future runs. I don't want to make a grindy game, but a little bit of progression wouldn't hurt. Out in each area, you can find a map maker. This old dude is wandering around the kingdom in search of someone important. To sustain himself, he's selling his knowledge of the land in liquid form. This kind of started out as a joke because I didn't really want to make a map sprite, and the idea of having a physical map kind of messes with the short-term, long-term memory side effects that I already created. But this actually fits with the plot of the game that I've written, and it's unique, so I think I'm just going to keep it. Even if it sounds kind of gross now that I'm saying it out loud. Just drink the old man's map juice. Yep, I'm doing it. We've talked about the locksmith before. You bring him locked chests and he opens them. Now we've got a sprite for him, and you could purchase keys that will open these chests without having to lug them all the way back here. His sprite is also a modified version of the blacksmith sprite, just with noodle arms instead. It's because the locksmith and the blacksmith are brothers, and not because I was lazy. I'll probably do some kind of quest where you can reunite them or something. Here we have our first time-based side quest. This is the mountain climber. He just wants to go back home, but he doesn't have the strength. If you find him early enough in your run, you can bring him a vial and save his life. He'll give you his climbing gear, and you'll be able to scale single walls with a new wall jump ability. If you come here too late though, he won't be so lucky. You'll find his broken climbing gear, and probably a crushing amount of guilt too. With this, you'll only be able to do wall jumps between two walls. So this is just another decision you'll have to make. At the start of your run, you can go straight for the mountain climber. Definitely because you want to save him, and not just to get the fancy wall jump. I told you, I'm going to guilt you into playing this game. But there might be other things you'll miss out on, and I'm sure finding the fire element first would make the snowy mountain a lot easier. If you've played Majora's Mask, you might be noticing some of its influence. I really like how that game gives you all these different quest lines to follow, but on each cycle you have to choose who you're going to help. It's such a fun game to replay too, because once you know the game really well, you can start to juggle all these different quests at once to make each 3-day cycle as efficient as possible. So there we go. I've been completely sidetracked by making a hub world, NPCs, dialogue, and planning out most of the game's story. That part's a secret for now though. Hopefully now you feel a little bit more intrigued about the game's world, and you can see a little bit more about what makes this game unique. As I get back to working on the game's next area, I also want to start adding some more polish to the game feel. Adding juice, if you will. I feel like I don't like the word juice anymore. You're gonna drink this old guy's map juice, you're gonna drink my game juice. Let me know what you think about the new NPCs and hub area. Do you have any ideas of your own? Are you gonna save the mountain climber? Are you gonna drink this old guy's map juice? If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated on the game's progress. I also have a Twitter account where I post more frequent screenshots of whatever I'm working on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.